The Ultimate Team S26, the new stuff is out. We're going to go through everything, the new evolution changes, goalkeeper evolutions, new rival rewards, new tournaments, new evos, new appearances, the gauntlets. We're going to go through everything in this video, especially that single nation tournament that everyone is very, very much looking forward to, and the new changes to rivals and squad battles and everything like that. And of course, champs. Now let's go through into the video. Okay, so one of the new things they've added in FC26 is these live events. Now you can find them through the live events hub. There's going to be a lot of change in Ultimate Team, so just pay attention and follow through, and then we'll go through where they're going to be. But there'll be live events, and the idea is that there's going to be a custom kind of like objective, or maybe, for example, it's a certain live event, like, you know, it's reach certain division in division rivals, certain club, player quality, maybe like a full silver team or full chemistry. So you can see in this example, countries max and in squad, as you can see behind the right hand below, the max regions is 1, and this is a tournament of 4 rounds competing in a single nations tournament live event to compete objectives and earn rewards. So this is a new thing, as you can see, is going to be restricted by a time frame. So you can see on the top left, this could be different things. You know, it could be just a normal good game. It could be house rules like max chemistry, no rules, anything like that. But don't forget, it's probably, I think it's going to be an interesting one. Maybe you can do co-op tournaments on this, hopefully. Single player. I think this is a really interesting one. Don't forget as well, the single nations tournament. I think there's different rounds you can also do. So this one's a round of 16. Kind of brings back like the old school daily knockout tournaments. Remember the old school daily knockout tournaments? The ones that you needed to qualify for FUT Champions. But it looks like this new method is bringing back tournaments. It's what the leaks have been saying and talking about. It's something we've been very much looking forward to. How many times do we get bored when you finish your rival games, champs is finished? What do you do from Monday to Wednesday? I think tournaments are going to be a new gap to fill, especially like if you have those requirements, like maybe for a French team, or maybe, for example, there's like African Cup of Nations or something like that, or World Cup or Euros in the future going forward. Maybe you could have like a themed country-based one, or maybe Champions League, or something of that nature. And what's interesting as well is you do have a certain amount of entries. You can see just in the front of the screen here, you can see like 10 out of 10 entries. So some of these tournaments, they're going to have some different entry. Maybe you only get 1 entry in one big tournament, but this one you can see you get 10 and you get a group reward. So very, very interesting. It would be cool to see what the rewards are. You can see we do get a rare mega pack and tradable. I've not seen that for a very long time. It almost reminds me of the old school. Do you remember when the game used to come out? You used to do the web app, you used to do those advanced SBCs and get them tradable. But hopefully there's better rewards, coins, and hopefully some better rewards like evolutions, what I always wanted. Here you can see another example. This one was the La Liga esports players, minimum of 5 in the squad. The season's coming to a close. Qualify for this event to earn SP packs and season rewards. And entry requirements is, as you can see on the left-hand side, play 20 rival games. I'm actually looking very forward to this. I think where Rush fills in the casual gap, I think his limited time events are really good. And what's interesting here, it tells you your wins and losses. Now, matchmaking can be configured for each event. So you can have per event, you can have per form, and also you can have your global win rate across FC, I think. So very, very interesting. Now, tournaments are back. This is one that I was talking about. This kind of goes along with live events. Live events will be like this category where you'll have different type of limited time-based events, but tournaments will be included in that. And this one that I was talking about as well. Now, this is the one we've been talking about, the one that we've been seeing leaks about, Ultimate Gauntlet. Test your club's depth in Ultimate Gauntlet to complete objectives and earn rewards. Very, very interesting. And it's 3 rounds. It looks like they can change the rounds. Now, this is what they say officially, okay? Gauntlets are a new way to test your club's depth and ability across multiple matches. Each gauntlet consists of up to 5 matches, so you can see. So in this one, it's only 3 rounds. I presume they can adjust it depending. Maybe you can have like a 1-round mode as well. But however, instead of using the same squad each match, you need to use a completely different squad for every match, including the sub bench. So maybe you have players in your squad or old evolutions that maybe you just haven't used or you want to use. This is going to be a game mode where we can finally use those players. Because how many times you've got players in a club that's not in our starting 11, that's like the meta players, but maybe they're just not good enough to go in our starting 11. This one, as you can see on the right hand side, you can see just below the camera, it says squad must be replaced every single round. That means you need to have the players inside your squad. So those players, maybe you evolved some time back when the game came out, they could come in and be useful. And what they said also, at launch will kick off with the Ultimate Gauntlet, which is the one you're seeing as well, featuring 3 rounds requiring 3 unique squads running every 2 weeks to start. This is just the beginning with more details to come upon launch. And unlike tournaments, there's no elimination, so you can keep playing the full gauntlet regardless of the result. The more you win, the better rewards. It's a format where squad building choices matter as much as what happens on the pitch. So this is very interesting. They said over here, there's no elimination here. So it looks like you just keep going forward, and you can see on the right hand side just below me, there's rewards. So maybe this is like, think of like the champs-based reward system inside tournaments. That's how it's going to be. So maybe if you play, for example, 15 rounds, for example, let's say there's max of 15 rounds, maybe you can go all the way and earn better rewards like a Jumbo Rare Players Pack. I think this is very much what was needed for a very long time inside the game. And I think they should have done this years ago. I don't know what took them so long. And what's interesting over here, you can see under the new play category of the For You section, and you can see you have single nation tournaments. As I mentioned to you, it might not be a normal game. It could be like a house rules, like Golden Goal, Mystery Ball. And those are in single nation tournament. Then you have Ultimate Gauntlet, the one that they said is coming out when the game comes out separately. And then they have Challengers, which is the new FUT Champion system, which we'll come on to over in a second. But you can see you could basically have simultaneous tournaments running alongside the Ultimate Gauntlet and FUT Champs and Rivals, which I'm very much looking forward to. So it's not just one tournament, that's it. There could be multiple running at the same time. Now, the big one, Rivals revamp. So in FC 26, they basically listened to the feedback. So what they figured out is there's too many matches to play. We just know that. Trying to get the top ranks, it's just, imagine you're in a league division playing those top games is too much. And once you climb divisions, what do? There's no motivation. It kind of tapers off. And hitting a good run can also leave you in a higher division that you want to be. And you end up going on losing streaks if you kind of fall off a little bit. Or let's say, for example, we all know how it is when sometimes you lose a couple of games. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to make Rivals more interactive and more rewarding in some ways. So you can see this is the new structure. Have a look here. So you can see Rivals, play matches to earn points, unlock weekly rewards. The higher you climb divisions, better rewards, same as usual. But have a look. We got these new little notches, as you can see over here, below every single point. And these are specific bounties, which I want to go into. So you can see, look here. One of the bounties is first strike. Score the first goal in your next match. So when you're playing against your opponent, you'll have to score the first goal. And you can see, for example, you still got the weekly rewards, win Division 8, and earn 7 points to qualify for the next weekly reward. Now, you can do bounties alongside when you're climbing up in normal division rivals, how you normally would. What they said over here is bounties are randomly triggered event that apply to your next rival matches. Complete one, you earn rewards from ranging from rival points to skip ahead, champs qualification points, coins, packs, and season XP, to even earning rival stage skips, allowing you to progress the ladder faster. These are some examples. So you can see score the first goal in your next match, score the last goal probably, win by 2 or more, keep a clean sheet. Maybe they could have one, maybe score one outside the box, maybe get a red card first. That would be an interesting bound that you could have. But I'm probably presuming they can change that when the game comes out as the thing progresses. Now there's something called duels. So duels are special bounties that attempt to match you with opponents on the same challenge. Interesting. Like score first, ensuring that only one can walk away with a award. So like, for example, first strike, it could be that you're in a duel. So let's say you and an opponent in the same, let's say same rivals division. You're both in Division 8, for example. You both get first strike. So there's going to be some sort of promotion for one of you to get the first goal for you to get the reward. That's very, very interesting. Then they've introduced something new, limited checkpoints. Now, this is something that I wanted, and I said to them to do it for ages. Limited checkpoints are a new form of breakable checkpoints that track losses and enables relegation once broken. You'll see how many losses remain when selecting a limited checkpoint, and the number of losses before it breaks can be different between each checkpoint. So you can see, for example, like here, games you can afford to lose before dropping a stage. So it's kind of like that safety net. You know, sometimes you go on that really bad losing streak, and you end up going all the way down, or sometimes you just want to go down and you kind of can't in some ways. The limited checkpoint is basically giving you that freedom. Like, you know what? You could have to try too hard, have to sweat too much. You have this limited checkpoint. It's only if you lose a certain amount of games, then that checkpoint breaks and then you can fall below it. The whole idea behind this is intended to help prevent players from getting stuck outside their skill equilibrium for long periods of time. And this will reset the beginning of each rival season. So this is very interesting because I think sometimes you go in a situation and you go all the way through and then you get relegated straight back through. I think this is a good happy medium. I think it's important how they implement this. I hope this is not in the elite division. This should absolutely not be in Division 1 or the elite division. But I think this is a really good idea for players that maybe take a break and you go into rivals And in that warm-up game, you're always a bit funky, you're always making some silly mistakes. I think this is a good solution going forward. Now, you saw under the Single Nations tournament, you also saw challenges where you can see not qualified. This is the new FUT Champ system that they mentioned for the lower tier players that maybe are not as skilled. So you can see over here, this is the new screen of what it looks like. Pretty interesting. As you can see in the event, it's solo event, competitive, complete weekly and thrilling matches, show off your skills and aim to dominate the competition. You got 3 attempts, not qualified. And as you can see some of the rewards, you get some SP points. And then you can see, look, complete the entry requirements, and you can see max Division 9. So maybe these are sliding and that can change throughout the year. So maybe in the beginning it's Division 9, but then it goes to Division 7. So at times, they said at times qualifying for playoffs was tougher than competition itself. And sometimes it was hard for those that maybe weren't the most skilled. So what they've done is they've created this new kind of section where you can now play challenges, but not everyone can play FUT Champs. So there's no more playoffs anymore. So anyone that's in the top tier division, they can't play basically the challenges. They will have FUT Champs as normal. And the lower divisions, or Division 10, like Division 7, for example, will have this new challenges system. They said as well, instead, you'll qualify directly for champions by reaching a specific division rivals and collecting champs qualification points. So I think this could be, as you can see just below, this can depend on what division you're in. Maybe you start at Division 9 and begin to protect the newcomers. And then as time goes on, it kind of spreads to Division 7 and 6 and above. And don't forget, FUT Champs is then separate. So for players outside the top division, they have challenges. And then they have the new tier of FUT Champions with its own format and rewards for the top tier players. I think that's very good for the players that are new to the game. Going into champs can feel very demotivating, especially when you come up against someone who knows what they're doing. It can be almost even more challenging. Imagine you're Division 7. Champs is going to be the average champs game is going to be much harder than even a Division 5 game. So in Division 7, you're probably losing every single game. So the motivation isn't there. Now you can see this is the new champ style. Play in champs. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So they've kind of changed it. There's 16 now. There's 15 games. Okay, so it appears now. Hang on. So if I'm not mistaken, does that mean that every single rank there's going to be rewards? So have they increased rewards? Because look, rank 2 is now 14 wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So sometimes when you get rank 2, you get 13 wins and you've got 1 game left. It's not worth going all the way. Now it appears that every single win rate gives you better rewards. And you can see, look, entry requirements. Look at the bottom left. Minimum Division 6. So does that mean Division 6 and below is just separately for challenges? Now, what they said is competitive gameplay is a new tuning set specifically for FUT, but built around 3 core ideas: responsiveness, consistency, and higher player control. The change is a result of direct live feedback from comments, posts, and threads, etc., etc. What we talked about here gameplay stuff like fewer rebounds, adjusted player stamina, more responsive. Okay, I think this is very interesting. Now, something I want to mention here is they made some changes to disconnects. So look, check this out. It says in FC26 we are taking another step forward here, adding disconnects, including dashboards, to previously enable quits. What this means is when certain conditions are met when playing live events, rivals, or champs, you'll receive a win when your opponent quits or disconnects from the match when the scoreline is a draw. Thank the Lord. Imagine people just quitting in the first minute when you're playing to champs. So this guy needs to finally fix that issue. We are finalizing what these conditions can be. But similar to FC25, there will be a limit on how number of times a player can receive a win from this each day, as well as conditions from within the match itself. Interesting. Why are they doing that? As discussed later, this is a complex space when we will change how players get wins. Okay. Very, very interesting. Now we can see a quick sneak peek of the new card design for FC26. They also making some changes to Rush. Thank the Lord. We know that Rush was built on experiences, so teammates that are quitting and disconnecting can be a frustrating experience. To encourage teammates in FUT from stop quitting, FUT Rush in this case, we're introducing matchmaking delays for players that consistently leave early, but no mention on matchmaking for similar levels. Now, some big changes to Evos. You can now repeat the same Evo multiple times. So let's say, for example, you have an Evo called Power Shot. You can do it once and then you can do it again for another player. This is what we always wanted. They said most would be limited repeatable. I mean, they be completed a number of times. Let's say you have like a new power shot one, it can be repeated maybe twice, allowing you to apply multiple player items or use them again on the same play if eligible. So can you imagine there's an Evo, for example, to give Bellingham, let's say in this example, +5 pace. Let's say start with 85 pace, you do it once, then he gets 8 or 90, then you can do it again, and then you can get 95. So if that Evo is repeatable, we can. I think it's something that we've been calling for some time, but now they've also changed cosmetic stacking as well. How many times have you had an Evo that you wanted to add a cosmetic to, and they end up changing their card? So you can now evolve players without changing the item design unless a specific evolution changes the rarity. So evolutions are now marked with a new badging that can be applied in squad requirements, making it easier to track. And you can see, look here, that is the new logo at the bottom right. Pretty cool, actually. So you know that player is an evolution. Also, when you're going up against someone, you know it's an evolution as well, not just a cosmetic card, I think, as well. And you can see in this example here with Barcola, he doesn't change the actual image of that card itself. Cosmetic upgrades stack now and only overwrite each other when they affect the same type. So your unique stays intact across evolutions. Even when an item's rarity changes, animation and badge effects that aren't tied to rarity will carry over. Plus, evolution consumables now preview the cosmetics and rarity they will receive. So that way you know what you're getting before putting a card and finding out what you're getting after in a cosmetic. And you can see that's one example there. And then you can see, for example, on this segment over here, you can see like Sun, you can see we're retaining that same look. There's been so many times where I think you put a card in and you just don't know what you're getting. But it's interesting. They stack. It'll be interesting to see how this actually transpires. And don't forget, FC26 Ultimate Edition owners will also have 2 slots. So you're going to have 2 evolution slots that you can do at the same time. Now, one big issue we always had is, remember when you create a new account, you don't have access to the transfer market. It was a stupid decision. Why would they even do that? And they finally fixed that. Thank the Lord. Do you know how many accounts I have that don't have access to the transfer market? It's ridiculous. So from FC26, there's something called guaranteed access. So it limits some accounts that have access to the transfer market. So in FC26, everyone's going to get access to the transfer market. If you're a returning foot player on the same platform and your account meets the requirements and in good standing, you'll receive immediate access to the full transfer market when you log in. If you are a new player and your account did not meet the requirements, a series of foundation objectives will grant transfer market access once they're being completed and a period of time. Okay, so at least now we know to unlock the transfer market, we got to do some stuff in objectives. And at least we know once we do them, we can guarantee access. Because before, sometimes you got to play the game, be active. God knows what you got to do to be active. Now it says, limiting transfer market access for new accounts help protect the economy from potential rule-breaking activity while ensuring that actual players are introduced to foot at a more measured pace. It's one way focused on player trust and system integrity. Because I think people can just coin farm and stuff like that. But they're making some change to that. So it appears that almost everyone, so it says guaranteed access, which limits some accounts access to a transfer market when they first access Ultimate Team. They have been live in FC25 on PC since 2024. So anyone that's been live on PS5 or PC, I think as well, will have access to the market. If you don't, you'll be able to complete some objectives to finally do it, some foundation objectives. And one thing they mentioned as well is previously you had to navigate to objectives to in order to find available objectives and the rewards, which was very inconvenient. And then a new FC26 player menu, relevant objectives will be viewable while highlighting each game mode. For live events, you can also see the entry requirements, so you'll know exactly what's needed to join. So I think some big changes to Ultimate Team, presuming they can adjust these changes as well. I think the one that I'm probably looking very much forward to is this new division rivals. I think this new bounties and this limited checkpoint will help a lot of people. But I think in these new bounties and these kind of these duels where like first strike, score the first goal on the next match, I can't wait for that. You can see there's a versus one. And you can see like also in images, you can see there's 1 hour up as maybe you get some level up. Very, very interesting. The new tournaments, I can't wait. I found it so boring. You know, Rush was now used for objectives. There's nothing to do, I think, once champs and rivals are finished. So there's new tournaments and these live tournaments, especially the ones where you have to basically have a new squad every single time. That's the one that I'm really looking forward to. So like the season finale, you can see, look here, it has to be minimum 5. So these are the theme-based ones. And then you have, for example, these are the Ultimate Gauntlet. And you can see, for example, like here, you got to play 20 matches. And some of these, they stack up. And I think the ones where you can change, or you have to change your team every single time, I think that's a pretty good one. Evolutions, we've all known how much of a headache it's been with evolutions. Transfer market finally unlocks. But the Ultimate Gauntlet here is 3 rounds, but the squads must be replaced for each round. I think is one of my favorite things. The beta is out, so I'm assuming that all of this will be available when the beta comes out as well. So you can experience this first on the beta. Thank you very much to everyone that's watching this video. I hope this gave you a lot of information. There's like a long pitch notes, but I was able to record this early thanks to EA. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time.